Everybody join in this melody.
Let us unite, let us unite.
That's the only way we're gonna be free.
Unite, let us unite.
Everybody singing this sweet refrain.
Let us unite, let us unite.
Sing this melody till it gets in your brain. Well, I'm talking to you, Muslim, Christian, and Hebrew. Anything to do, we got to unite, or else we are through.
Let us unite, let us unite.
Everybody singing this sweet refrain.
Let us unite, let us unite.
Sing this melody till it gets in your brain.
Let us unite, let us unite.
Everybody singing this melody.
Let us unite, let us unite.
That's the only way we're gonna be free. They're united in Ghana, Guinea, Mali, and Nigeria. All over Africa, the people are getting together. They even uniting in Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, and Angola. And rumors vision will light the world over from Cape to Cairo, one Africa.
Let us unite, let us unite.
Everybody singing this sweet refrain.
Let us unite, let us unite.
Sing this melody till it gets in your brain.
Let us unite, let us unite.
Come on, do it tonight.
Let us unite, let us unite.
Brothers and sisters, let us unite.
There is a need for unity. The best for you and me. There is a need for unity. The best for you and me. Unity.
Everybody join in this melody. That's the only way we're gonna be free.
Let us unite, let us unite.
Come on, do it tonight.
Let us unite, let us unite.
Brothers and sisters, let us unite. Well, they're uniting in Cuba, Trinidad, Tobago, and Grenada, St. Kitts, Puerto Rico, and Jamaica. Let us unite in America, the yellow man moving in Asia, the red man awakening in India, the black man rising up in Africa. Let us jump up in America. Ha! Ha! Ha!
There is a need for unity. The best for you and me.
All of the nations of the earth as we speak are angry. They're angry because governments cannot suffice the needs of their people. They're angry because a few have gotten wealthy at the expense of the many. And the poor and the sick and the weak and the unlearned multiply. And the value of their lives are diminished by the rich and the powerful, so that when human life is devalued, that in the eyes of man you are unworthy of the gift of life, then it is easy for another human being, to take the life of another human being that he or she has devalued. Black life in America is devalued. Hispanic life is devalued. Even poor white life is devalued. There's a way that I have to behave. I'm free, but I'm not free to rob you of yours. I'm not free to take from you what does not belong to me. So if I will construct my life according to these righteous principles, then between man and man, man and woman, peace. Between race and race, peace. Between rich and poor, peace. We have our beautiful Mexican family. This once was theirs. So you can't say to them they are aliens. That's a horrible word to use for former owners. I see my indigenous family here. Many tribes, but they're really one great nation of people that now must be reunited with themselves. So it's their time now, as well as ours, that God would intervene in our affairs and bring the bottom rail to the top. The government is not rehabilitating soldiers. When they send you away to kill. When you come home, they gotta reconstitute you for civilian life again. Make sure you have a job so you can take care of your family, but they're not doing it. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad says, a woman can do anything that a man does, and the only thing he forbids the woman to do is the thing that degrades her. So how high can you go? High as you want to. Why would God allow the female to wear his attributes if you can't be a manifestation of that attribute? Women, you got to be set free. What God has put within you must be cultivated, must be developed, and must be used for the advancement of a nation and a world. I said to myself, Mr. President, why the hell don't you go to the wicked police department? Why the hell don't you stand up and tell them that your killing of black youth and brown youth is not gonna hold no more? Why don't you stand up? God's world is in need of a truth that will set up a government where everybody can live in peace, under real freedom, real justice, and real equality.
What's up, Wealth Nation? Until you decide that you are going to control your money, someone else is always going to be in control of it. Now, do you think that that someone else is really going to care about your money as much as you do? That's debatable. My name is Carmen.
And I'm Darius. And I think right about now is probably a really good time for us to start taking into consideration exactly what is being done with our money and look no further than the banks. Banking is an absolute necessity that we have, but banks themselves, not so much. So in order for me to illustrate, the idea of how to become a bank, let me switch over to my screen to help me out. How do you become your own bank? Well, one thing we want to understand is that banking is a process. Banks are a business, and businesses are in business just to make money. So as we go through this presentation, what I want you to do is focus on exactly what the banks are doing, not what they are telling you, because the difference between the two is significantly different. And the process is what we really want to study. So first of all, how do banks actually work? Well, in the most simple form, banks are a storage facility for our money, which means that whenever we get paid, our deposits are directly put into the bank. And the banks, just for allowing us to purchase our money there, they pay us a small interest rate. Now, banks also provide loans. They provide loans for home loans, car loans, student loans, credit cards, etc. Now, what we really want to understand as far as what the banks do is that banks charge us a significantly higher interest rate than what they pay us for our deposits. Now, what exactly does that look like? As an example, I have here the fact that you can earn 0.1% on your account. But when you go to get a loan, let's say the banks charge you 1%. Now, let's put some numbers to this. Let's say you have $100 deposited into your account and you're earning 0.1%. The banks are paying you 0.1%. What that means is that you're earning 10 cents. Now, on the other hand, you go and get a loan for the same exact amount for $100 at 1%, you're going to pay $1. Now, again, these aren't high numbers, and it seems very insignificant comparing $1 to 10 cents. But the difference is that you end up paying 10 times more than what you earn. Now, again, I say $100, but let's take all of our deposits that we have inside banks. This comes to billions of dollars that banks have access to. And yes, we may be earning 0.1% in our account, but the loans are significantly more than just 1%. So let's let that seep in for just a moment. Now, what exactly do banks tell us that we should be doing? Well, based on the advertisements and marketing that we see on television and TV and on YouTube, banks want us to borrow as much money from them as we possibly can. So the banks want us to pay them interest while they pay us very, very small amounts of interest. And they earn it by offering us products and services, not only that they charge us interest for, but we have to pay fees on top of that. So what we can learn from just this concept is that banks keep their expenses low and their income high. They keep their expenses low because the money that they pay us for having our deposits on hand is minimal in comparison to the amount of leverage that we give them and the money that they give us back in the form of loans at higher interest rates. So banks are experts at keeping their expenses low and their income high. Now, what can we do? We can copy exactly what they're doing by, again, making sure our expenses are low and our income is very high. And the difference between the two is the amount of cash flow that we have on hand to do some of the things that puts more money into our pockets. Now, the first thing we want to do is have a foundation of savings, meaning that we want to have emergency funds. We want to have funds available so that when opportunities present itself, we have liquid cash to where we can take advantage of it. The next thing we want to do is invest back into ourselves. That means personal development. You may want to invest in learning a new skill so that you can make more money. We are our biggest assets. And how do I know that? Is because we are the biggest assets to the banks. The only way banks get paid is if we pay them. So if we invest in ourselves and personal development and creating more skills, we're able to make more money. And then when we're also able to do is to invest in business. Use the cash flow to invest into some type of business because at the end of the day, banks are a business. And if banks are a business, then we want to create a bank, not a bank. We want to create a business just like them. So we come to this next point of foundational savings. Do you think banks actually save their money in the banks? No. Banks preserve their cash by using whole life insurance. And matter of fact, banks are the largest purchasers of whole life insurance in the entire world, followed by Fortune 500 companies and our government. And why in the world would a bank want to buy life insurance? Well, one thing is the fact that they don't have to pay taxes on the growth because specifically mutual life insurance companies, you don't have to pay any taxes on whatever income is earned inside that policy through dividends. The second thing is the fact that banks have access to huge amounts of cash whenever they need it. So let's say the economy tanks and the banks need a large influx of money. Well, one thing they can do is utilize their life insurance policies that they have billions and billions of dollars of cash value on hand. Now, the next thing that I think is the biggest reason why banks really love life insurance is the fact that life insurance policies with mutual insurance companies are private financial contracts with private companies, which means that they don't have to tell you the fact that they actually have a contract with a specific company. Means that they're free from litigation and they're free from, again, taxes. And if they get sued, this is money that's just off to the side that nobody knows about. Let's think about it. Did you know that banks actually have life insurance policies? They buy life insurance on their key employees, utilize that cash for themselves. Now, what do they tell us to do with our savings? Of course, they tell us to leverage the products and services that they offer. Why? So they can charge us interest and fees just for having access to it. But then they go and do something different with their money. So, of course, the lesson learned here is the fact that you should be copying exactly what the banks are doing so that you can take advantage of the tax-free growth, so that you can take advantage of having access to cash in the event of an emergency. So you can have access to cash to when you want to finance your major purchases outside of the bank so that you can pay yourself back the interest that you would have paid to the banks. And what this would do is this will increase your cash flow significantly because you have access to cash that, because it's with a private financial company, it technically doesn't exist because you don't have to pay taxes on these funds. If your wages were to get garnished because of taxes, they can't touch your life insurance policies. And even in some states, if you get sued, your life insurance are still invisible. It's still safe. So having access to cash outside of what the government has access to is a huge opportunity that we have that we're not taking advantage of. So if you want to understand a little more about how this whole process works, then check out our masterclass below, where we go into more detail about taxes. We go into detail about how much the banks have, our government officials, and how it can actually work for you and your lifestyle. So when it comes to investing in ourselves, how do banks go about doing this? Well, the most common way banks make money that is really easy for us to understand is, of course, loans. Our mortgage loans, our car loans, our student loans, our credit cards. Because at the end of the day, average American has less than $1,000 in savings, but the average cost of a house is about $300,000. So if we have less than $1,000 in the savings, where we're earning 0.1%, and then we purchase a house at, let's say, 3%, that's a huge amount of money that we're sending away from our household that we can be utilizing to create cash flow for ourselves. So at what should we copy when it comes to investing in ourselves? Well, the first thing you want to do is realize that you, again, are your biggest asset, because we're the biggest asset to the bank. So what you want to do is save 6 to 12 months of your living expenses so that in the event of there's some type of emergency or business opportunity, you want to be able to utilize your cash within your whole life insurance policy. Because the nice thing about leveraging cash within inside of a whole life insurance policy is the fact that you can borrow that money and still continue to earn interest, because just like the banks are doing, they're leveraging our deposits to lend us money. Now, even though they're doing that, do we ever see our deposits change? Let's say we have a savings account with $10,000 in it. And when we go and borrow money from the bank, do we ever see our income reduce? No, we don't. And it's the same thing that happens within a life insurance policy. A whole life insurance policy is the fact that we can go and we can borrow money from the life insurance company and still continue to earn money, because the only thing we're doing is leveraging the cash value that we have, our death benefit. We're leveraging that cash so that we can utilize it into some type of emergency or business opportunity that presents itself. Now we can earn interest with this business expense, and we can still continue to earn interest inside of our life insurance. Now, what we also want to do is do a better job managing our money. We want to be an expert at money management. Why? Because the banks are experts at it. We want to manage our own money, because as soon as we give up control of our own money, what happens is the person that we're giving up control of that money, what's in their best interest is they make as much money as they can for themselves. So what we want to do is control our own money. Understand exactly what our money is doing. Understand exactly how much it costs in order for us to get our new house before we actually purchase it. We don't want to let the banks tell us how much we can afford. We want to go to them and let them know how much money we plan on paying. So all that comes in understanding how to better manage our money and being responsible in discipline. Now, the next thing you want to do is invest in your personal development, because investing in your personal development and creating better skill sets allow you to make more money. And the more money you make, the more money you're able to keep. Because what you're doing is you're taking that difference between the amount of expenses that you are paying. And as your income increases, again, there's more cash flow that you have to invest in businesses. And what we want to think about when it comes to business is creating passive cash flow. Now, what passive cash flow allows us to do is make that spread even larger, because the fact that we do the work one time and that money continues to pay us over and over again. And the key word here is control. A lot of times we want to invest in the stock market, we want to invest in mutual funds, but we don't have control of those assets. And the less control we have, the more risk that we have to take on. So right now, the market is doing its own thing. There's a lot of people that are losing money or have lost money, and there's people that may make some money. But the fact that we can't control it is a huge risk for us in generating the income that we need in order to sustain ourselves. So what you should have got from this is understanding exactly what the banks are doing and being able to look at this and apply it on our own scale. And what I want you to do is check out our next video on how infinite banking works, because this breaks down the process of borrowing from your whole life insurance policies and utilizing that cash value to make your major purchases in your life, so that instead of you paying interest to someone else, you're able to recapture those interests and redirect those funds back to ourselves. What I want you to do is own your own lifestyle, or someone else will.
All right. Want to say good morning. Yeah, it's still morning, Dr. David. Well, we're excited today, and this pre-call is just can't wait to share with you. But we wanted to do a little something just to kind of share a little bit about the evolution of banking, the need for community and what's going on teamwork wise, why we're here, and also the urgency and the timing of what we're doing right now, why we have our hands on it. So I want to welcome or at least we want to welcome to the panel today, Ms. Gail White and Mr. Charles White out pre-call. One is all right, Wealth Builders, hello again. I just want to say good morning. Yeah, it's still morning, Dr. David. Well, we're excited today, and this pre-call is you just can't wait to share with you. But we wanted to do a little something just to kind of share a little bit about the evolution of banking, the need for community and what's going on teamwork-wise, why we're here, and also the urgency and the timing of what we're doing right now, why we have our hands on it. So I want to welcome, or at least we want to welcome to the panel today, Ms. Gail White and Mr. Charles White out of Grand Prairie, Texas, and Dr. Rosie and Dr. Reginald Brazel out of Houston here with us. And I tell you what, we're excited to have you guys here. How are you doing?
Excited to be here. Thank you for having us.
Awesome, awesome. So we're going to kick it off with Mr. Charles White. Just tell us a little something in your words about what the evolution of banking is doing right now. What's going on?
Oh, well, builders. That's the first thing I want to say. That this is part of the evolution. So I started in banking back in the early 80s, 1980 as a matter of fact. And you know, right at that point, there was a great partnership between the government, the banks, and the people. Everything was regulated. If you had $100, you could put it in a passbook and make 5.5% interest. That's when the banks needed us. You know, the banks have evolved. There's been a lot of greed and a lot of things happening in the big banks that have driven our economy to the brink of failure. For example, in 2008, one of the biggest banks in the world, in fact, the biggest bank in the world, had employees that were playing around with these things called derivatives, and we were that close to losing our economy in 2008. Now, Dan Rather didn't come on the evening news and say that. That would have left all of us in the lurch with no money and nowhere to get it. So fast forward till today, that's when Bitcoin was invented, by the way, 2008. Fast forward till today, okay? Now, here's something we don't think about. The government has an unlimited license to print money. They can print as much money as they believe they need. Okay. Now, the banks back in March of 2020 were given the same right. They don't have to have deposits. They can print their own money and make their own loans without deposits. What does that mean for us? They're going to treat us very badly. They're going to treat us very badly. They're already doing it. You check the interest rate on your account lately? When I started, they were paying 17.8% for a 6-month CD. Now you can't, if you get close to one, if you sniff 1%, you're lucky. I want to know where that is. So be your own bank. BYOB, be your own bank. That's where we're going.
Outstanding. Love that. Love that. Ms. Gail, what about the community?
Well, I just want to piggyback on what my husband Charles said. Maybe it's not the evolution, it's devolving instead of evolving, because that's really what all society is doing. I started out in commercial casualty reinsurance, did what everybody said do, get a job, get an education, get a job, get out, retire, but it doesn't work anymore. It's all sort of devolved into something else. And what we need now is a community to help us navigate all the little ins and outs, the problems, the traps, the landmines, getting from graduation to retirement. You can't do it by yourself. You got to have a community. And I haven't found any community that's anywhere near like this one with the right products, the right system, the right commissions, the right money, the right currency, but mostly the right people who can just say, look, don't step here, step there, don't do this, do that. And if we get in community, community means with unity. I'm a child of the 70s. I always wanted to overthrow something. Were you there? I want to overthrow the government. Now we get to overthrow this entire corrupt system because we get to get out and create our own in community. That's all I have to say back to you, Dr. Ron.
I love that. That is amazing. That is something. And, you know, that brings us to timing and urgency. I tell you what, Dr. Brazel, what do you have to say about timing?
Timing.
Ladies first.
I want to talk about the urgency, really. Because right now, like I think Charles, Mr. White was saying, that money's evolving and it's evolving really fast now. And a lot of things that are happening that we don't even know about. Like, that's why we love talking to Mr. White, because he can bring out the information that we don't have, behind the scenes stuff. That all we know, we can get this dollar and it goes to the store, and what we used to buy with it doesn't buy that much anymore. And all they tell us is it's inflation. They don't tell you that the dollar's just not worth anything. They're continually printing more of it, and the more you have, the less value it has. And so when we got the Bitcoin, they came out with Bitcoin. They're moving money. I don't know if you know it, but they're moving money into cryptocurrency because the dollar value is disappearing. So people are getting more and more cryptocurrency. And what I think the biggest problem is our ignorance. No offense to anybody, ignorance just means you just don't know. And it's deliberately kept from them. So, and what they know that what we don't understand, we don't participate in. We feel like we got to learn what it is. We got to know what it is. We didn't know what the dollar was when they came out with it, but when we want to get our hands on some. So that should be the same way it is with the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency G999. You don't have to know what it is to know that it's making money. I didn't know what Bitcoin was or what it was going to do when we purchased ours. I mean, we spent half our retirement on Bitcoin, and we became millionaires with it. But I didn't even know what it was when we purchased it. I just know my son, they call him and say, you need to get you some Bitcoin. So we got some Bitcoin, And so you don't know what a lottery ticket is either. You go buy a lottery ticket, you don't know what you're doing, just giving them some money, they give you a piece of paper, and then on Saturday night, you sit up and wait and hope that they pull your number or something. Do that with your G999. Buy you a bunch of G999. Wait a year. It's 2 cents right now. In a year, they're actually creating the market for it. That's something that Bitcoin didn't even have. And they went from 2 cents to $32,000 in 11 years. What is 11 years? 10 years, really. They went from 2 cents to $32,000. So if you don't have no way else you're gonna go a millionaire, let alone 10 years. So buy the G999, hold on to it. I mean, act like it's a few lottery tickets. Spend $100, $200, $300, $400, whatever. But if you buy $100,000 worth, that's only, 100,000 G999, that's only $1,500. End of the year, you're a millionaire. You don't have that choice anywhere else. I mean, if you can just put it away, not think about it, and let it happen. That's what happens. It just happens. We weren't sitting up here punching buttons or doing anything to make Bitcoin go to $32,000. We were not. We just pick up our phone every morning and look at what it was. And some days like this morning, we picked up our phones and it was $4,000 more than it was yesterday. My goodness.
That's amazing.
But back to timing, though. I tell you, time is so important in the community. What you talked about, the community, and then what Mr. White talked about with the banking. We have a community. That's what happened with Bitcoin back in 2008. They had a community. We have a community which is constantly growing. Now think about this. This timing. Where I'm going is timing. Okay, because we made a decision in 2017. Now, the institutions which Mr. White and his wife talked about, that's a part of timing, because when the banks get involved, then this is the first time you have opportunity to get involved with something before the institutions get involved, and the community was already involved at first. So now we have a community, now the institutions are getting in, So with this G999 coin, we're like, wow, people don't understand the timing, like we try to tell them then. So get in before the institution's gonna start coming to our company for this technology. Emails, voicemails, and being able to not have it hacked. Once they come in, then that 2 cents gonna, what do you think it's gonna do to that coin? So that's why it's so important to jump in right now and get many as you can, like we try to tell people then, because the community is already here. The banking, financial institutions, they're gonna get involved, and then it's opportunity will still be good. But when we couldn't buy for $100,000 worth of Bitcoin a day, we'd probably get about 3 Bitcoin versus 2017. So you asked about timing. Okay.
That's exactly.
All right. Thank you, Rhonda, for giving us opportunity to vent.
Yeah, to vent. That's it. Well, the community needs to hear that. What's going on out here? Why we're excited. You know what I'm saying? And even though some people are already retirement, this is pulling everybody out of retirement. We're not sitting around watching TV, are we?
No.
we're helping a bunch of people. Dr. David, what's your comments on that?
You talk about the timing. You guys have talked a little bit about the evolution of banking. I wrote this stuff down, the urgency, and we talk about community. Well, the thing now we just that leadership. Guys, I think we have the platform to really lead people out of bondage. You know, what did Noah did with the people and Moses? They led them out of the that. So we're at the point of leadership leading us out of this bondage. And that's what we're trying to do here now. And not only do we have the leaders here in our city, and what we're trying to pull our little posse and our little family with us, we got Moses at the beginning, Mr. Best. He's trying to pull all of us out of this.
That's right.
You know, he's been an example of what leadership is all about, and follow someone that went down that path before. I have to say, I've been to the mountain. He went up on the mountain and seen it there, so he's pulling us out. So we just need to follow. Oh, by the way, as Mr. Best moved along, Mr. Delco was right there with him, and he's taking up the mantle and kind of pulling us out of it. So leadership is what we're all about. So that's why I just think this is a great platform. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this. And each one of you got something great to add. So we appreciate them back.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Wealth Builders, there you have heard it. And we want to encourage you to take all of the resources that are available to you. And there's so many of them. Don't try to figure it all out. Don't worry about what doesn't make sense to you. Just know that the message is the same. The mission is the same. Go back and read for yourself the Wealth Builders mission and how we have connected with companies that have resources to help us all reach our goals.
And we got to come with the tools. We're bringing the tools on. GS Partners is the tools. We're bringing it in. Right?
So we want to have fun. We're enjoying the journey because God told us he didn't promise it was going to be rosy and sunny and all of that, right? We got to go through some hills and valleys, and we got to change some things, right? The water's not always as smooth as it is right there behind Dr. Rosie. And it's not always that smooth, but the thing
you won't make your way there.
You were made for greatness. That's right. And you can do all things, and anything that God is leading you to, he's going to bring you through and give you the resources and the community, as Ms. Gail just said, the community to help you. So we're excited about that. So glad we have this opportunity to share with you this morning. And we all can say, gladiators, what do we say? Ready? Yes. All right. Thank you guys much.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, doctors.
Thank you.
No unity, no power. White power for white people. Black power for black people. 1967. The Black Panther Party. The movement. Freedom.
Let's talk about freedom.
We will not bow down to racism.
We will not bow down to injustice.
I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna stay.
Now this is time for free your mind and your soul. Yo, after story has never been told. Ladies, you got to demand what you want, and what you want is respect, right?
Come and take a walk with me, closer walk with me, see what only I can see.
Sisters, check this. Watch this.
Turn us loose, set us free from all the chains that bind me.
Let us run in our own direction.
Let us go, set us free from all this propaganda and lies that your people try to teach us. I know why you would like to bring us down.
Because we have all the devil on you. You try to tell us that our lives don't mean a thing, but we know so much better, so we're gonna take up the freedom.
Freedom for my mind, freedom for my spirit.
All this time you've been telling us these lies, but now we finally figured out okay. Yeah, all that we would never wise up, but we'll show the how black female can do. So you continue to keep us oppressed, but no, we ain't going out like that. Oh no, no. All these lies and all this propaganda you want us to take, we're gonna take it. You gotta say, freedom from my body, freedom from my mind, my spirit, freedom for my body, freedom from my heart and my soul. I see the fear in your eyes, surprise, so cover it all. I know just who I am and what I wanna do. I can make you run, make you hide from all your ancestors' transgression that you hold inside. Sister rising up and sing that our time is here. We're taking back what's been lost for years.
Let the heaven of a system embrace you, embrace them of the
All these
guys.
lies and all this propaganda that you want us to say, we're gonna take out. Freedom from my mind, freedom for my spirit.
Ladies and gentlemen, ready for evolution. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another edition of Classes in Session. Your brother and friend, Brother Eric Teray Muhammad here, hoping you got something out of all that we were willing to share with you this morning, because it's about being your own bank, being in total control. It's all about having the control of your life, your destiny. You are your own bank. You are your own teller. You are your own customer. You just have to know and understand how that system is used and used against your benefit. The beauty about what we were sharing this morning, giving you the traditional sense from Wealth Nation and giving you the actual facts, the potential that's in front of you with the G999 and Bitcoin as it relates to Wealth Builders Worldwide and our affiliation with Gold Standard Partners, you cannot lose. Dr. Brazel described it as the ultimate lottery ticket. The lottery ticket, it's like getting a bunch of lottery tickets, just holding them. And look, you don't have to wait for any special drawing. All you gotta do is look at your phone every now and again, hear a notification, check your back office, and booyah. When she mentioned the fact that she woke up and the coin had gone up $4,000 overnight, have you looked at what happened yesterday? Last night, that coin jumped from 30 some odd thousand to over 35,000. And then a few minutes after the post of the 35,000, it jumped up to 35,600. Don't sleep. Gold is making some moves too, just as also was predicted. Look, this wealth transfer is on, folks. Things are happening in a way that only the uninformed cannot take advantage of. But the uninformed will be taken advantage of if we don't do our job and let the masses know. So again, welcome to Class in Session. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share with you. Thank you so much for sharing with other people. These presentations are being streamed on our YouTube channel, our new channel, Believe TV. Hashtag Team Believe. Believe TV, where the content is building for our launch, which our launch will be in 2 days. We'll be launching that channel on the 8th of February, and we are super, super excited. So get your opportunity. Go to the Eric Teray Muhammad Facebook page. Go to the Eric Teray Muhammad YouTube channel. Go to the Team Believe and or the Believe TV YouTube channel. Subscribe. Stay informed. Stay abreast. Be aware and remain aware of what's coming down the pike. We are so excited. I can't tell you how awesome this opportunity has been for myself and others. So again, I applaud your efforts of being a part, and I thank you again for being that magnificent community. Classes in session every Monday through Saturday, sometimes Sunday, 8 a.m. Eastern on these channels, and at 10:45 today, as is every Monday through Saturday, 10:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is the mighty power call. Today is hump day, baby. That's right. We're going to catch the dynamic duo. We're going to catch at 10:45 a.m. Miss Sherry Brown's going to be on the ones and twos, making it all happen. And then at 12 noon, we have a special live presentation from the Gold Collector, Mr. Gold Collector, Dante Taylor. So you want to be there for these two back-to-back powerhouse programming sensations. www.goldrocks.info. www.goldrocks.info. Thank you, Sister Cece Mahone and Demawi bringing up the rear as well with the passwords. Boom. Make sure you get them, take them down. If you can't decipher that, get back to Sister Demawi, get back to Sister Cece, get back to Ron, Newton, Sharon, Vix, get Sister Demawi, get with Kevin Miller, get with anybody and anyone who invited you to this opportunity to let them know you're ready to get started and you want to know how. I want to take time right now to thank Sister Nikki Knox and others for chiming in and rallying the troops as I was coming up on the deadline to air the program. You know, there's a timing involved. When you don't have it on air at a certain period of time, you lose connection on how you can link up to the program. And she was resilient. She got out there and made sure that everybody was tagged and connected. I try to do my best, but, you know, Sister's just quick with it. I want to thank her for doing that for the team. Okay, and that's right, Brother Kevin. We don't want to sleep on Ethereum. In the last 35 days, family, it has doubled. It's doubled twice in 35 days. It's amazing. It's amazing what we have our hands on. And we have our hands on both of these number one and number two cryptocurrencies. And as Professor Greg McKay said last night, we have a prince in the market, that G999. He said, you can probably expect a princess to come. Man, there's so many opportunities in this thing. It's going to blow you away. So remember, the way to change the nature of our experiences is to change the nature of our thoughts. And we do it all when we operate within the community of wealth builders worldwide. So you want to make sure that you are literally in the place to be. Okay. And then, of course, it doesn't any good to celebrate the wealth if you don't have the health to go along with it. You want to be around to see some of this heaven while you live. You want to claim some of this that you can call your own, and you want to leave it for generations well beyond you. So take advantage of the protocol. Know what the protocol is. Learn how you can be a part of this magnificent wealth transfer with the optimum health regimens. Get with Brother Mustafa and Sister Janetta Muhammad and see what they have in store for us and for you. All right. And then I just want to tell you a little bit about where we are with Team Believe. Boy, oh boy. We are now swiftly approaching 1,800 or more affiliates on the team. We have produced more than $250,000 in volume as a contributing arm of Wealth Builders Worldwide to Gold Standard Partners. We have tapped into a legacy, and all of us have the opportunity to build upon our legacies, to create our individual teams of 1,800, 2,000, 3,000 people. And we believe in the science of the system. And we believe in and on ourselves to make it happen. And it's infectious. And I'm going to show us how infectious that is. Today in the Believers Huddle is open to all who's available. We're going to be teaching on the three-way call. The importance is value, how to get it done, how to make it happen for everybody, for everyone. We'd love for you to be there as our guests. Those of you who already have the coordinates, you're welcome to come. Those of you who know people with the coordinates, you're welcome to get them. But we're going to be there at 9:15 this morning, and we won't be long, but we'll definitely be strong about the power of it and why you should never, ever dismiss it as a tool for success. All right. And thank you, Sister Cece Mahone. Yes, we congratulate Team Believe. We congratulate all of us in the accomplishments of wealth building and being willing to share it with others, you know. And that congrats is also Team Audacity. That congrats also belongs to, so many teams. Team Freedom, you know, Team Gold Standard, salute to you. There are so many teams out here striving in the same way, okay? Striving in the same way, and we need to make it happen. So with that in mind, keep that in mind. I'll see us all at 9:15. Brother Donald, reach out to one of us personally to make sure you get the access code if you don't have it. Peace and power, family. I will see us on the power call. Ahoo.
Oh, my people, I want you to understand and know the time. It's time that we are accepted and respected by both man and mankind. You know, the scripture says that God would choose those that are despised and rejected. And we have been that and cast aside. No one wanted us, and no one cared for us. And the worst thing about it, we never cared for ourselves. Oh, but brothers and sisters, it's time now that we fall in love with ourselves and with each other. This world has robbed us of a true guide, but it's time to unite and fight hard for unity. Brothers and sisters, we must live for each other and die for each other, because that's the only way that we're gonna know the meaning of what it is to be free. Then we'll conquer fear and wipe away all our tears. That's the benefit of our unity. Oh, my people, it is written that in the last days God would come after that sheep that was lost, and he has come today and he has given us Elijah, a man to show us the way out of the ditch of hell. So up, you mighty nation, you can accomplish anything that you will. So come on, let's rise again. Yes, let us build again. As our fathers built the pyramids and the Sphinx and all of the great ancient wonders. Let's rise again and build as our fathers used to do. Come on, let's unite. Strive and strive with all our might. Oh, let's fight hard for unity. Brothers and sisters, we must learn to live for each other and die for each other, because that's the only way we're gonna know the joy of being free. We'll conquer fear. We'll conquer fear and wipe away all our tears. That's the benefit of our unity. Come on, black man, rise again and build again. The basis of unity is love. When we love each other, we come into unity with each other. And when we're in unity, we have the strength and the power to overcome all obstacles in the pathway of our freedom. Yes, brothers and sisters, this is the benefit of our unity. So let's rise again. Come on, black man, rise again. Brothers and sisters, come on. Build again with a bit of unity, unity. So let's rise again, baby, and build again with a bit of unity. Let's rise again and build again. Let's rise